Good evening, everyone. This is the July 9th, 2025 open meeting of the Auburn Conservation Commission.
This conference will now be recorded.
This meeting is being operated as a hybrid format under Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022. So if the public wishes to join the meeting, they can do so by dialing 1-408-650-3123 and then using access code 942-845-549. Or you can join via computer at global.go-to-meeting.com/join/942-845-549. So materials for tonight's meeting have been provided to the commissioners and they're available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. My name is Michael Garland. I'm chairman of the commission. Before we begin, let me do a roll call of our members. Megan Langley.
Here.
Michelle Kolarov.
Here.
Mark Sclamo.
Here.
Ricky Arizmi.
Here.
Tom Fallon.
Here.
Okay. Before we begin with public hearings, we are required to reorganize. So is there a motion?
I motion to reorganize.
Okay. Can you be more specific? You need to appoint a chairman and a vice chairman.
I cannot be more specific.
I move to have Michael Garland as our chairman and Megan Langley as our vice chair.
Okay. I think we have to do it separately. But
Okay.
so on Michelle's motion, is there a second? It doesn't matter.
I second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. All right, everyone, thank you very much. I would move to appoint Megan Langley as vice chair of the commission. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. It was a unanimous vote.
I don't know if I can vote on myself, but I didn't.
You can, and I do too, so. All right, so with that out of the way, our first public hearing this evening is a request for determination filed by Gina Lewis to remove trees at 276 Prospect Street. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. Is anyone here on behalf of Gina Lewis Sargent?
Yep, speaking. This is Gina.
Hi, Gina. So you're joining us online,
Hi.
correct?
Yes, yeah, we're joining online because we're out of state today.
Okay. I hope you're somewhere nice.
Yeah, we're in Maine. We're in Bar Harbor, Maine.
Bahama. That's wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
If you could you tell us the nature of the hazard that's being posed by these trees?
Yeah, so the trees are mostly all dead, and there is a risk that if any of the trees do fall, of hitting the house. We have had a dead tree just last year fall, and it did hit the house.
Oh,
And I had to redo my siding, yeah.
okay. So I looked at your request for determination, and unfortunately, there were no photographs that were produced. At least I didn't get any photographs showing the trees in question. You wouldn't happen to have any of those, would you? That you can share with us?
No, I don't, unfortunately. I believe I was told, I was communicated that a couple of people would be coming out to take a look at the trees sometime last week. I don't know if that happened.
Well, unfortunately, because last weekend was 4th of July weekend, I know I didn't make it out, and I imagine none of the other commissioners did too. But I think what we'd like to do, if it's all right with you, is to take a view this Saturday. I don't know if you'll be home or not, but it won't take long, and if you are home, you can point out the trees to us. Is that okay?
Yeah, unfortunately, we will not be home.
Okay, but you don't mind if we take a look, right?
Yeah, no, that's fine, yeah. There's a lot of dead ash trees.
Okay, all right. So we will take a look this coming Saturday, and with your permission, maybe
Okay.
we continue the public hearing to July 23rd.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have anything on for July 23rd?
No, 7 o'clock.
All right. Is there a motion to continue the public hearing for 276 Prospect Street to 7 p.m. on July 23rd?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed to vote? All right. Ms. Sargent, we'll take a look this weekend.
Yeah.
We're going to continue the hearing to July 23rd at 7 PM. And at that point,
Okay, yeah, that's fine. My only thing is, so there are some other, trees on the property, and on the other side, there were some pine trees that we're gonna take down, and the tree guy was planning on coming there, next week to take those down, so that's what I was hoping we would get an answer today. Because he already has it on the schedule, to come out on the 15th.
well, are these pine trees within 100 feet of a wetland?
No, these are on the other side of the property. They're pretty much a nuisance to our neighbors because they park their cars basically right next to the pine trees.
Okay, so as long as the pine trees are not within 100 feet of any wetland area, it's fine for your tree cutter to go there. We will make sure,
Yeah,
we'll inspect that on Saturday, and if, assuming there's no issue,
Yeah.
no problem with that.
I think she's just trying to come.
yeah, I was just saying that because he was going to be there with all his equipment,
Well,
I was hoping to get an answer on the other trees near the wetlands area, so that way he could do it all when he's out there with the equipment.
ma'am, the problem,
I wasn't aware that the people didn't go there last week. I thought they were going to be there like last Monday or Tuesday to take a look.
I'm on a.
I believe that's what Mr. Fallon had mentioned to me in an email.
The hearing's tonight, so they generally conduct a site visit after they have your initial hearing.
so ma'am,
Okay.
if you would provide us with pictures of the trees in question, we might have been able to roll on your request this evening, but we really do need to take a look.
Okay, let's see.
So you may want to postpone your tree cutter until after our hearing on July 23rd.
All right. If you were able to see the pictures today, would you be able to provide an answer before the end of the meeting today?
If you
If we
can,
can get you the pictures?
ma'am, if you can provide those to us, if you can email them to our website,
Yeah.
we have an opportunity to look at them. Perhaps we can act on your request this evening.
Okay, that would be perfect. Thank you. Can you? What is the email?
Oh,
It's conservation@town.auburn.ma.us.
That's an email?
that's the email.
Correct, that's the email address.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So what we're gonna do,
All right. Thank you.
we're gonna just
Yeah.
we're gonna hold your matter until the end of the meeting. Hopefully by that time you'll be
Okay.
able to get us the pictures, and then we can make a decision. Okay?
All right. That's perfect. Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right.
The pictures that we're gonna send you, of the entire area, and it shows among them all of the dead ash trees. Those are the only ones that we want to take down.
Okay.
And it's gonna be tough from these pictures to tell because every picture in this was taken back when there were no leaves on the trees. But that's the area. It's only within the stuff that's in striking distance of the house.
All right.
That's what we're looking at. So I'll send you I have 3 pictures of that area, and then we can go from there. And also, when you get out there, most of the trees are marked. The tree, I marked them all.
All right. Okay. Very good. Yeah. Get those pictures.
All right, so we'll send these.
Yeah. All right.
We'll do it now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. The next matter on our agenda is a 7:05 public hearing. David Romanoff, a notice of intent to construct a single-family dwelling at 5 Commonwealth Avenue. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. Is anyone here on behalf of Mr. Romanoff?
Yes, good evening. This is Norman Hill from Land Planning.
Good evening, sir.
I'm a licensed civil engineer. Now, my client, David Romanoff, is in your audience. David, could you just wave to the board?
Yeah, we see him.
So today we received a DEP file number for this.
Okay.
So David would like to get permission to build a house on this 3/4 acre lot.
Mhm.
It fronts on Commonwealth Ave. Commonwealth Ave is a gravel road, but there is town sewer and town water buried under Commonwealth Avenue, and David would connect to the town sewer and the town water. This house would connect to those 2 services.
Okay.
Now, the lot is all wooded. It slopes downhill away from the road, and at the bottom of the hill, there's a seasonal brook, and there's quite a large area bordering vegetated wetlands at the bottom of the hill. So if you can look at the plan, you'll see that there's no construction proposed within 50 feet of the edge of wetland. We had a wetland scientist flag the edge of wetlands, and our survey crew surveyed the location of those wetland flags and the topography and the property lines. So the plan you're looking at is accurate. We're proposing siltation controls just uphill from that 50-foot line, so that we don't want any siltation going down the hill towards BVW. So it's just a one single-family house. You can see where the boundaries of the house, and there'd be no backyard other than maybe 2 or 3 feet of lawn, because then that's right up against the siltation controls. And there'll be no backhoe digging in that corner. That corner will be supported by one of these helical piles. I don't know if you've seen these helical piles holding up porches and additions and whatnot, but that corner would be supported by a helical pile. So there'll be no need to excavate in that back left corner of the house. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I have one question. I'm just looking at the topo on this. Will it be necessary to bring any fill in to level out the building site?
No, we're not going to bring in any fill. There will probably be 5 helical columns holding up the left half of that house.
Okay.
So the only excavation will be for the foundation on the right half of the house,
Okay.
and then that would be safe for backfill, and any excess would be trucked away. So we wouldn't change the topography of the lot on the left side of the house, not one bit.
Okay.
Just the front right, where we got to fill in for a driveway in the front right.
Is the lot wooded currently, or has it been cleared?
It is entirely wooded.
So it hasn't been cleared yet?
That's correct.
Okay, all right. I mean, you probably heard my speech before. We didn't have a chance to take a look before tonight. What I would like to do is just have a quick view on Saturday, if that's agreeable to you.
Sure.
And then if, with your assent, then we would continue the public hearing. 1 minute, sir.
Sure.
For 2 weeks to July 23rd, would that be agreeable?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sure.
All right, before we close the hearing, or at least continue it, any comments from the board?
Through the chair.
Yes.
So we went out and did a site visit when I was a member of the board about 3 or 4 years ago at 8 Commonwealth, which was across the street. It was a new house.
Okay.
Had a terraced hill, if you recall, Mike, when I went there. So this is like directly across the street, that wooded area when you're
Right.
first driving.
Right. Yeah. So it's is this a private way? It's public, even though.
I don't know I think it's a public road. I don't know the answer to that question, and I don't know if the town ever accepted it. I'd have to check with the town clerk.
Well, if they haven't accepted it, then it's not a public way. So, all right. If any other questions from the board,
No question.
sir, you have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering, where is the house in relation to the stormwater pipe?
Could you just identify yourself,
Michael
sir?
Dash 26 Oakwood Ave. I'm
Okay.
diagonally across from where this project is planned.
Okay.
There's a stormwater pipe that comes out of the side of the hill and drains into the perennial stream. I'm just wondering where the house is in relation to that pipe.
Okay. Mr. Hill, can you answer that?
So yes, the house would be just uphill from that, to the right of it. As you look at it from your house, it would be to the right of that drain pipe,
So you're not going to affect.
uphill from that drain pipe.
So you're not going to affect any of the stormwater area, right?
No, we wouldn't touch that drain pipe. The proposed sewer and water pipes would go under that drain pipe. There'd be no need to relocate or change that drainage in any way.
Okay. And there'll be no mitigation of the perennial stream either, right?
I think the question is,
I'm sorry,
if I can just restate the question, I think he's asking whether constructing the house will affect the perennial stream in any way.
no, I don't believe it will. No. It's a seasonal brook, but I don't believe it'll affect it at all.
Okay. Well, what we can do is when we go in on Saturday, we can certainly take a look. And we will. So, all right.
All right.
So if any other questions? There being none, is there a motion to continue the public hearing for 5 Commonwealth Avenue to July 23rd at 7:05 p.m.?
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. All right, so we will continue the public hearing for 2 weeks. We'll go out on Saturday, and thank you for coming tonight. Okay, you're welcome.
If you knew what time you were going to be there on Saturday, I could meet you there.
And Mr. Hill, it's entirely up to you. I would say 9 o'clock.
Okay,
How about 9:05?
all right. All right, I will be there. All right, thank you.
All right,
Everybody stay well. Thank you.
all right, take care. All right. The next matter on our agenda is 7:10 public hearing. Giovanni Nardella, notice of intent to build an addition to a single-family home and remove a garage at 5 Friedel Street. Is there a motion open?
Motion open.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed to vote. I believe Mr. Kravosky was going to join us.
Spoke with him this morning, and he said he was gonna be on. He had another meeting earlier this evening, but he was gonna be on remotely. He
Okay,
did say he was probably gonna continue the hearing, because he was still waiting for some stormwater stuff, but he wanted to basically present like the plans that he has already, because the plans are pretty much completed
okay,
as far as what he's proposing.
okay. Well, why don't we do this? We'll hold the 7:10 public hearing, and then if he joins us in time, great. If he doesn't, we'll see him the next time. And it being 7:15, Eastland Partners, notice of intent to construct a power-ready site at 50 Washington Street. My understanding that that matter is going to be continued at the request of the applicant. They still don't have a DEP file number?
Nope.
Wow, that's interesting.
If you look at the list in the packet through the chair, I provided all of the filings this year, and there's only 3 out of like 8 or 9 that have been issued so far
Okay,
this year, so it seems like it's about a 2-month backup.
so, all right. In that case, can I have a motion to continue 50 Washington Street to July 23rd at 7, we'll make it 7:10 PM?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed to vote. We are just moving right along here. All right, we have a couple minutes. Did anyone have an opportunity to review the meeting minutes for February 20th? I'm sorry, February 26th of 2020?
I don't have any comments, but I also
That's right. You weren't on the board. Did you have a chance to look at these?
No?
Okay, well, I did.
Okay, good.
You want to take a moment to look?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh,
Here's, you can,
thank you.
You got them?
Thank you. Oh, I do have that one. And yes, I did look at that and I didn't find anything.
Okay.
That's the July 20th.
So according to Ms. Buteau, thank you, even though the current members, or 3 of the current members of the board were not members of the board back in February of 2020, you can vote on accepting these minutes. Michelle and I both were members. That was, I think, the last meeting before the COVID lockdown, interestingly enough. Is there a motion to accept the meeting minutes of February 26, 2020?
I move to accept the meeting minutes of February 26, 2020.
Is there a second?
second.
Is there any discussion?
I just have a question about the email that Ginger sent with this. It says, the rules of order and other parliamentary procedures state that absence from a meeting does not prevent a member from participating in the approval of the minutes. So is that like generally speaking, or just in this specific?
Generally speaking, yeah.
Okay. So in the future, can members can,
So, I mean, I think our meetings were videotaped back in February of 2020, if I recall.
Even back then, sure.
So, I mean, I think if you miss a meeting currently, you have the opportunity to go on, look at the video of the meeting, and then you can then make, I think, an informed decision regarding the meeting minutes. Okay? So there's a motion, there's a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed to vote. Okay. And we have a couple more minutes. So for the meeting minutes of June 25th of 2025, is there any amendments or changes?
Oh, so
I don't have any changes.
Okay. Michelle, anything?
nope.
Ricky, anything?
Nope.
Mark? In that case, is there a motion to accept the meeting minutes for June 25 of 2025?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
All right. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? It's a vote. Okay. Wow, and I still have a minute. Okay. Anyway.
Through the chair, I'm not sure who top caller two is. I see Mr. Marinis is here. for
Okay.
this hearing, but I'm not sure who caller two is.
Caller 2, can you identify yourself? It's a mysterious caller 2. Caller 2 chooses to be anonymous. All right, well. All right, I have 20 past. The next public hearing on our agenda is a 7:20 public hearing. Michael Marinis of Insight Engineering, a notice of intent for 4749 Rockland Road. Is there a motion to open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed to vote. Mr. Marinis, there you are, sir.
Hi, can everyone hear me okay?
We can hear you fine. Can you hear us?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
So tell us, how did it go at the planning board meeting last night?
It went well. We did not get a vote. It was continued to September. So I thought it might be beneficial if I updated you guys on where we were since our last meeting and my last meeting with the planning board.
Okay.
There were some comments from the planning board regarding a request to pave the entrance road. So I prepared a plan to the town engineer. I think it was on 6/24. You were copied on it. I realize that you've only recently received it, but the engineer acknowledged receipt and gave me some preliminary comments via email. She was in general acceptance of the design to pave the road, but she had a question as to whether or not the proposed swales along the road, which would serve to treat any runoff, whether or not those are acceptable or not. There was also a question in her mind whether or not we should curb the road. The chairman of the planning commission asked me to curb the road. So there is a design that's being reviewed. There are some questions with regard to specifics, but I think everyone on that end was okay with the idea of paving the road. We also proposed a row of arborvitae along the road, and that was being discussed as well. And I understand that the planning board may seek fire department input on the width of the road. That's essentially where we were at last night. I understand that I will be receiving formal comments from the town engineer by 7/24, and I'm hopeful that we'll have some kind of formal response from the town at that time as well, whether it be from the planning board or just from the town engineer. That's essentially what happened since the last meeting. Everything focused really on the entrance. There were some comments also from the board with regard to the potential for paving the upland existing parking area. So I'm expecting to get some kind of formal feedback from the town on that as well, hopefully by the end of July.
So I take it then that you are going to continue the public hearing on this matter, correct?
Yeah, we're continuing with the planning board until at least September. So it might make sense for us to make our next meeting at that point as well, unless you have some additional comments or anything else, any questions that you feel are you need me to answer at this point.
Well, our first meeting in September is September 10th. Would that, you think, give you sufficient time?
Well, we are planning on meeting with the planning board on the 9th, so I will surely have some news for you by the 10th.
Okay.
Whether or not I've secured an approval from them, I don't know.
All right. Go ahead.
To the chair, I have a question. So with all of this going on and you're not meeting again until September, is there runoff going into the wetlands right now, or is that secured, or?
Look at-
Yeah, the owner has installed the erosion control measures that are on the plan.
Okay,
Specifically, the slope protection and the silt fence along the entrance road and the stabilized construction entrance. Those have all been installed. The vegetation has not, specifically the arborvitae has not yet been approved. And the swale adjacent to the road has not been approved yet. But like I said, the silt fence and the slope stabilization for the existing upland area has been installed.
Okay. There's some of the neighbors to that property are here, and I think they would like to offer their comments. So, gentlemen, if you could just state your name and your address and have at it. Don't be shy.
John Capuano, Rice Road, Auburn, Mass. I'm in a butter. I own the property on the brook side, across the brook.
Okay.
Kettle Brook.
Yes, sir.
My concerns have always been regarding the driveway and the brook.
Right.
Not against the business, doing business, that's something else, and that's fine. I'm concerned about the driveway. I'm concerned that it's not wide enough. I think that it should be, and I mentioned it last night, and wasn't well that much, but it should be 2 widths of trucks wide, so you can go one way and come back this way. 2 widths, that requires 22 feet of roadway.
Mhm.
For the whole length of 500 feet. Now, if you stand on Rockland Road, you cannot see the end of that driveway.
I agree with that.
So it's detrimental to have a truck start going and then have someone on the other end start coming down. Because somebody has to back up.
Mhm.
So in order to avoid that happening, it should be 2 lanes wide.
So I take your point. I'm not sure that's within our jurisdiction. That's really probably a planning board issue. And again, I can't speak for the planning board. I did not see the meeting last night, but hopefully they will take your comments into account.
But what it involves is, it's conservation.
We've been to the site several times. I know where the brook is right next to that road.
Yes, so what I'm saying is that if they're gonna make it wider, something has to give,
Understood.
right?
Mhm.
And conservation then would come in with another plan.
Well, what I'm hearing from Mr. Marinus is that I think we've seen probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 plans. Is that fair? This thing has been pending for about 2 years now, right?
at least.
Give or take? Mr. Marinus?
Yeah, yes, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were asking me.
No, it's all right. I know we've seen several plans for this, and it seems like based on what happened at the planning board meeting last night, there's going to be another revised plan. So I think from our point of view, and we've had multiple hearings here, but we need to see a final plan. And then once we see a final plan, I mean, we have a pretty good idea certainly have a good idea of the conditions at that site. I thought, and depending on whether there's going to be additional impervious area added, which is to say they pave the parking lot, that may trigger the need for the installation of a detention basin, for example. So we don't know what the final plan's going to be. It sounds like it's getting closer to some sort of resolution, but we're not there yet.
Okay, I agree. I hear you. I understand all that, and I understood last night's meeting.
Okay.
My point is that if you have a 80,000-pound 18-wheel truck going up that driveway and he has to back up a little bit, is gonna come off the pavement. Now, last night, there was some talk about the pavement being level with the ground,
Okay,
or the gravel anyways, but it's gonna be level, so there's no step up or down for the road from the landscape. And maybe he'll agree to that. Maybe he'll say that was discussed. So if it's gonna be at the same plane, right, and the trucks back up or drive over that edge of pavement, now there's a gully. And that gully doesn't go away. It
Mhm.
only gets worse.
right,
And when it gets worse, it's gonna force all of that sediment down along the side of the road into the brook.
understood.
That's my concern.
Okay,
So there wasn't any talk last night about the plan itself with a fence, but there is a fence on the plan, marked fence,
okay,
right? So I don't know what the fence is gonna do, but I would suggest if it's only gonna be wide enough for one truck, then they should have a fence, meaning guardrails
acting as a
both
barrier.
sides, so that the trucks cannot roll off of the pavement.
Okay.
So
And,
that would be a wonderful way of stopping that.
and you shared these issues, or you made that suggestion to the planning board?
Last night, it was like
Well, can I
we're
make,
not talking to you.
can I make a suggestion to you? You may want to put your thoughts or suggestions in writing and mail them in to the planning board. They'll get added to the agenda. I mean, as you just heard, this matter is going to be continued for basically another 2 months. So I think it gives you time, if you want to make those concerns heard, or at least memorialize them in the form of writing, you have the opportunity to do that. Okay, and I hear what you're saying, and we're very mindful, again, we don't want anything to happen, no sediment or anything to go into the brook because of the proximity between that gravel road right now and the brook next to it. But I think to the extent of suggesting like a guardrail or maybe widening the roadway to 22 feet, I think you should put those in writing and send them to the planning board because they really have the authority to make those changes.
4 weeks ago, there was a planning board meeting. And 4 weeks ago, it was continued to last night.
Okay,
4 weeks ago, we talked about this dual-lane driveway at length. But last night, when I brought it up, the chairman said, talk to the fire department.
well, I mean,
So
again,
what do I say to that? So
I don't know.
yep.
Yeah.
Anyways, so it's not, I'm not looking for approval. I'm looking for safety. You can't have two vehicles, and I'm not talking about two tractor trailer trucks. I'm talking about the tractor trailer truck and a regular box truck. They can't pass each other.
Understood.
So we talked about 4 weeks ago, putting a berm on each side of the road. And we talked about an 8x12-inch berm. And that, I thought that was approved, not approved, but accepted. Because a truck can feel this under the wheel. So if he's going off the road, he can feel that, rather than anything else. But it wasn't brought up last night.
Just because it wasn't brought up doesn't mean it was discarded. Again, there's been no final approval by the planning board. And so I just think, there are probably several balls in the air right now with regard to this plan, project. And all I can say to you is reiterate what I'm saying, because I know you've been active along with your neighbors. And all I can say to you is, keep that participation up and make those concerns heard. And one way to do it, in addition to speaking your mind with these things, is put it in writing, because that becomes part of the record. Okay?
I just have one more thought, one more. Can I talk again?
Sure.
Someone else want to talk.
See, go ahead.
So now you're in the conservation commission here, and that, there's a culvert at the bottom of that driveway.
Okay.
And the culvert is for the brook.
Right.
So it's half on my property and half on their property.
Okay.
Okay?
So there's an easement, you have an easement on your deed for that culvert?
probably.
All right,
That culvert was built in 1954.
and probably needs to be redone.
I started going there last night and forget to ask. Anyways, my point is, I don't know if I should just mention it to the Conservation Commission or not.
Well, certainly, we don't want, I mean, that conveys water, and so we cannot have that culvert being undermined or degraded by any construction work that occurs at 47 Rock. So, and we will go out there again, I know. So we will certainly take a look at the culvert and see if there's any issue with it.
Perfect.
Okay?
One more.
You said that the last time. Go ahead.
Maybe I have three, But talking about the culvert.
Yep.
Okay, so back in 1954, that was designed by engineers from the state of Massachusetts, along with two others,
Okay.
okay?
Pretty sure they're dead now, but go ahead.
Could be. Hey. Anyways, when that culvert was built, that was because the brook was actually two brooks. One brook where it is now, and one further south by Brook Road. And both of those legs took 50% of the water coming off of Stoneville Reservoir.
Okay.
So if you calculate the flow of water, whatever that calculation was, and you block off one of those brooks, which they did with the approval of the Conservation Commission in 1978.
For my time, sir.
So they buried the southern part of the brook, and now all the water flows down to my property. And all the water, so it's now handling all of the water, not 50% of the water. So if you go there and you look at the brook, the water level is not that high, but it's against the side walls, and that shouldn't be there. It is because there's a lot of water flowing, right? And that's what causes it,
Okay.
right? So what I'm saying is, I don't know what I'm saying. So we should look at that.
Well, we will take a look at the culvert.
Yep.
Any other comments from the audience? Can we be a little brief this time? Sir, your name and address.
Rafferty, Hall Street. Just quickly, as far as the erosion control that the engineer says is in place, can code enforcement agree that it hasn't? Have you reviewed it? Is it in place?
I was gonna recommend that we go there on Saturday and check it out.
We'll take a look.
Yeah, because I noticed that at a lot of meetings, board members ask engineers, did you do this? And they go, yup, and you take their word for it.
We generally do take a look, but I take your point.
Right. Did everyone, I was wondering if it's online, did the board, did you see the planning board meeting last night?
Sir, I did not.
No.
The only reason I asked that is, I asked the planning board, chairman, if the board, if they had seen the ZBA meeting the night before, and he ripped into me and said, we pay attention to all the other meetings, so we know what's going on.
Okay.
So I'm just asking, and one of the things I noticed is, are all the boards communicating with one another? Maybe it's not your job to watch the videos and attend meetings, maybe some minutes could be given to you so you kind of have an idea what's going on. Be better informed. The only thing I want to say is this project has been going on for a long time.
Yep.
It's been continuance after continuance after continuance.
Correct.
You've got a business, they got a tacit approval from code enforcement that everything will be fine, hunky-dory, come on in and start running your business, despite the fact that you haven't done it before the ZBA to get any permissions. Conservation Commission, Planning Board, they're operating full tilt, okay? And so that says they're operating without approval, there are safety issues, there are conservation issues. How long have pollutants been running into Kettlebrook?
Well, look, I'll address the last point you had. This originally came up before us, I think, on an enforcement order probably a good 2 years ago, maybe even maybe even, I'm thinking maybe 23, maybe even 22. And so at that point, that was the first time, and my memory is that the business had been not operating for some time, and then there was new ownership, and then they started operating. When we, someone, I'm not sure who did, but there was a complaint filed with us. We went there, we found a violation, and we issued an enforcement order. And then this applicant then went ahead and filed a notice of intent because they want to do other work. So we have been monitoring this since then. What makes this project, I think, a little unusual is that, first of all, most projects don't take 2 years before there's a final hearing on it. The plan in this matter has changed several times, and to your point, ZBA is involved, planning board's involved, we're involved. And so we need a final plan. And again, the planning board has asked for several changes, and when the planning board asks for changes, it tends to have an impact on the way we view the site. And it's not an excuse, sir, it's an explanation. So hopefully you'll accept that.
Well, absolutely, except that I just find it extremely unusual that a business can come into town and operate it with no approval from anybody and just go full tilt. How many other businesses can do that? I see business after business come into town, they do it the right way. They come in, they say, we want to do this, and we need your permission. And board after board will either approve it or deny it and say, you can't do this. What I'm seeing so far with this business is that they've come in, they've been allowed to operate, and at no point have any authorities, any of the board said, you haven't got your permissions and your license and permits, stop what you're doing.
I'd like to speak through the chair.
Please.
Mr. Allen, our building inspector, has shut that business down several times, Mr. Allen, so I just want to let you know that. I agree with a lot of things you're saying, but as far as the business running, that business has been thoroughly vetted. They've been out there several times, shut them down, made them change things. So as far as for a business perspective and a building perspective, they're meeting all of the codes, but they're still going through planning, and it's been very frustrating. I get that, the idea of everybody's frustration. But to operate a business, they have to follow building codes. And Gary Allen, let me tell you one thing about Mr. Allen, he is above and beyond the best building inspector I've ever been in. I've been in construction for 25 years.
So I also like to make a comment about how this business, this driveway got created. You probably.
So, respectfully, sir, we've heard it before.
Yeah.
Okay, and we take your comments, we understand what you're saying. This matter is going to be continued until September. Okay, and so and again, to the point being that there's going to be another plan. The fire department may have comments regarding the driveway and the means and egress out of the building.
Absolutely. And
Which is not specifically an issue for the Conservation Commission.
Right, that's planning board. And it's interesting because the engineer said tonight that we're going to seek information from the fire department. Last night, the lawyer said the exact opposite. We've got nothing from the fire department, and we don't think we need to get anything from the fire department.
Sir, I can't comment on that.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to let you know, this goes to the character of the people that you're dealing with.
Okay.
That they would make erroneous statements like that, and that you should take that into consideration going forward, any statements they give you, because they are not being honest. And just to end, the issue that you brought up that happened 2 years ago, I'd like to submit to the board these documents. This is a copy, I don't think I have it for everybody. This is what has taken place. Just in case none of you have read this, this is for your elucidation. Thank you.
We can share one.
Couple copies here. Okay. Any other comments?
Can I speak?
Well, Mr. Marinus, 1 second, please. I want to get the last public comment, and then you can respond. Can you identify yourself per name and?
25 Rockland Road.
Okay.
I actually live on the street,
Yes, sir.
and I'm not going to talk about trucks. I've been insured since the first meeting.
Okay.
But, the thing that, like, why we need driveway, I understand, but we don't want, there's already 30 or 40 trucks that drive down, that go there anyway. So we feel as neighbors that widening the road is going to increase traffic.
Understood.
So we would, I'm not sure how you get to that point, but we just think widening the road and clearing whatever is going to add more to the property,
Okay.
physical.
Are you talking about the road or the driveway?
The driveway, I'm sorry.
Okay.
We don't want that to become a full-fledged road. It's- I mean,
Understood.
there's enough traffic on it as it is.
Okay.
So, and you're right, we have been going back and forth since May of 2024.
Seems long.
It's a long, I know.
Yeah,
It's-
this is 2022.
Actually, I came to the meeting in April and I got called home
Right.
in May.
So,
So, but yeah, I just think that, the neighbors, we would like to see, it not become a highway.
and again, I think that's something that you should take up with the plan. Say on that.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Marinus?
Just a couple responses to the public comment. I agree with what you said, that the driveway itself is a planning issue, but I'm happy to address any kind of thoughts or get into the discussion with the planning board more at this board if the chair wants the additional information.
Not really.
Okay. I agree, it's a planning board issue, and once it's sorted out there, you may or may not get a revised plan.
I say that respectfully because, again,
No, I completely understand. We have been trying to address comments that are coming from your board, coming from planning, coming from engineering, coming from DPW. There's been a lot of input, and that's why these things are taking so long. But more specifically, I take issue with the statement that our office is not being honest. With regard to the fire commission, what I had indicated, or what was told to me, was that the board was going to be seeking fire department input. The attorney last night said that, may or may not have said that he was going to do it, but the reference that I made was that I was told by the board that they were going to be asking for fire input. So there's been not dishonesty on this part, and I find that very offensive that you would let that stand.
when you say the attorney, who is the attorney?
Todd Broder was in attendance last night at the planning commission hearing.
Yeah, okay, I know Mr. Berner. All right, so we are agreed that the hearing's going to be continued to September 10th, correct?
Yes, very good.
Through the chair,
Yes.
Mr. Chandler's on. I spoke with him earlier. He called town hall today. I don't know
Okay.
if he wanted to speak tonight on behalf of this project or.
Mr. Chandler?
No comment this time, thank you.
Love it, thank you.
Well, actually, I do have one comment, but I don't think it has to do with conservation.
Well, sir,
I was home all day, and I called the town planning committee at 12:30, and there had already been 18 trucks to or from the site. And that is far more than what they agreed with the neighbors 5 or 6 months ago. I would like to have that put on the record that they are not sticking to that particular claim.
now when you say, okay.
Thank you.
Since you asked the question, sir, or you made the statement, when you say there was an agreement, was that an oral agreement or was that reduced to writing?
No, there was an agreement between the neighborhood and the directors, owners of the company in question, Arbor Freight.
Perhaps you should put that
And
on.
their hours were set for 7 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday, and on Saturday, 8 until 1. They have not adhered to that, and they said that they would probably have 8 to 12, maybe 14 trucks a day going back and forth, their own and subcontractors. Today at 12:20, there had been 18. All right, and I didn't keep track the rest of the day. It wasn't important at that point.
All right,
I
sir.
just want that noted that they are not adhering to their end of the deal for the neighborhood.
All right, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so the applicant wishes to continue the public hearing September 10th at 7 PM. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed to vote. All right, so 4749 Rockland Road is continued to September 10th. Gentlemen, I think to the extent you have concerns or issues, especially that would be addressed by the planning board, contact the planning board. Okay, and we will go from there. So enjoy the rest of your summer. Great, thank you.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for coming.
Good to see you. Let's just look at it.
I thought I could bring this on 7/9.
I'm sorry, what?
I made myself feel someone brought the wrong one.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Thanks for coming. So, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So at last meeting, 2 weeks ago, Mr. Tom Lewis was trying to get through. I heard call Darlene. I did get to speak with him right after that. Basically, I was able to get more information, which I put in the packets. I kind of left it as far as was he going to be online tonight or not. They are starting the vegetation tomorrow, and it's going to go, I think, through August 15th.
Okay.
But he provided more information for Providence and Worcester, much more than CSX did, listing of all the chemicals. I didn't want to print books, but I could have got about 300 pages.
Okay.
Okay, we
With
appreciate
everything.
that.
Yep, and then actually on the back of that packet, there's a couple of websites that, one of them is the agricultural.
I don't think this is meant for me, is it?
Yeah, I didn't know, well, I didn't know if you want a copy, Tim, that's from, that's the latest plans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's great. Okay, yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Yep, we appreciate what you do.
So they will be filing a new RDA for a 5-year plan next year.
Okay,
This is the last year, and this is actually where they do the every other year spray this year. So they're doing the ones they do every year, and they're doing the one that they do every other year this year,
okay,
and that's the 3rd year.
very good.
Okay.
Okay, we need to go into executive session. It's been suggested that one way to do that is to actually leave this room and go upstairs. Bob, you know the room upstairs?
I do.
So why don't we do that, and then what will happen is that we're suspending the meeting. After executive session, we'll come back to formally adjourn.
Okay, I think I can shut things down while you're up there.
Yes.
Hello,
Hello?
this is Virginia for 276 Prospect. We're still on the line. We had sent a bunch of photos as requested.
Okay.
We just wanted to make sure you knew we were on the line.
I'll tell you what, we have to go into executive session, and we'll look at the photos.
Okay.
Come out of executive session, and then if you can, what do you think, about 15 minutes?
Yeah, it'll be dictated really.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll stay on mute. I didn't want us to hear what you were about to say in executive session, that's all. I misunderstood, so thank you.
Sir,
Okay.
it's 10 minutes to 8 o'clock. Why don't you plan on rejoining us at 8:05?
We will, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yep, we will, thank you.
Chairman, just
Yep.
formally, if you would,
Sir.
vote to go into
Okay.
executive session.
Roll call vote, please.
All right, I move, or I vote that we go into executive session.
A second.
And again, Mr. Chairman, just that reading, if I may, the bottom of your agenda states that the reason is pursuant to Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to deliberate upon matters which, if done in an open meeting, could detrimentally affect the position of the town regarding strategy with respect to litigation. So that would be the basis of your motion.
That's correct.
Thank you.
All right. So can I do a motion second and then everyone approves?
Yes.
Okay.
By roll call vote.
All right, so I need a motion then for the commission to go into executive session in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to deliberate upon matters which, if done in an open meeting, could detrimentally affect the position of the town regarding strategy with respect to litigation. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed to vote. Okay, we will now go into executive session.
Mics are back on.
All right, thank you.
All right. Okay.
The photos we're supposed to look at.
Yeah,
Tom is
Tom's
printing them
printing
now,
Yep.
so. And we never heard from Glenn,
When?
so I'm sure we will hear from him next time.
Sorry, I can't wait to eat food.
You haven't eaten yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I will let you get hungry.
Yeah. we have anything else we have to vote on?
Well, if, depending on what the photographs show, we would have
That's
to,
it.
and that would be it. Otherwise, no, everything was continued.
All right, so what time are we going to, we'll fill Tom in. What time are we meeting and what place are we meeting
All right,
first on
we have to go
Saturday?
to Commonwealth Ave,
Okay,
and that would be, I would say, I mean, I'd even be, I would say 8:30 if you can make it, but is, or, no, wait. Let's make that 9
that's
o'clock.
a hard no.
Okay, I could see just by your look. Wow.
Commonwealth.
Excuse me. So-
Commonwealth at 9.
And then we can go right over to Rockland after that. Commonwealth won't take long, and Rockland shouldn't either.
A.M. What number is it? What number Commonwealth?
That's 5,
5.
but it's a vacant lot.
Oh, yeah.
So it's across the street from 8
Vacant.
Commonwealth. And it's wooded, so there's probably not gonna be too much to see.
Too much stuff.
You want the lights on?
Try and get there for 8:55.
Shall I turn them off again?
Why don't you turn them off for the time being? Thank you.
Unplug it.
To me, it looks like all of them have the code.
Well, of course, the problem is that it was the fall, and so
Yeah.
all of them would appear not to have leaves.
So the water would be behind these, the wetlands rather,
Yes,
like on the other side of the trees?
yes.
What day is this person coming?
I think she said.
Saturday.
Real quick through the chair, so
Yes.
she came to the meeting about a month and a half ago, explained what she wanted. I sent her all the information that Friday, and then she got her labels and everything, but didn't get the application until after the deadline for the last meeting. So when they said they were on vacation, I says, well, you'll come here, they'll do a site visit. I don't know how she thought we would have gone out when she hadn't even had her hearing yet, but
All right. Ms. Sargent, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
So, Ms. Sargent,
Hi.
we appreciate you sending the pictures. The problem is that because these were taken last fall, we can't tell the dead trees from the ones that are still alive. And so it's really difficult, I think, for us to make a determination about which trees, first of all, where the trees are that need to be cut and which ones are dead based on these images. Okay? So what I would suggest is this. We will take a visit, or we're making visits this Saturday. We'll go and take a look, obviously, because, you know, the trees that are alive have vegetation, and ones that are dead are dead. And then we'll know, you told me that you'd mark the ones that are dead. So we'll be able to make a determination pretty quickly. And I'm pretty confident we can issue a determination for you at our next meeting.
Okay.
Okay? So with your permission, we'd like to continue the public hearing to July 23rd at 7 PM. Is that agreeable to you?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Like I said, we'll get out this weekend and we will see you in 2 weeks.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And I think I had a motion before, but can I have another motion to continue the public hearing for 276 Prospect Street to July 23rd at 7 PM?
So moved.
7:05. Sorry.
7:05?
Yep.
I thought
Oh,
we,
wait, I'm sorry, nope, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Yeah, the original was Megan and Michelle.
Yeah, and is there a second?
Second,
7 o'clock was for the first one.
Correct, that's
That's what we're talking about.
276.
What happened is that we continued it and then they came on
Okay,
and asked us to reconsider, so we did that.
got it. So
So
what,
there's-
what happened to the 7:10?
Let's do this motion first.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So there's a motion, there's a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed to vote. So Ricky, right now, we've got 276 Prospect at 7 o'clock. We've got 5 Commonwealth at 7:05. We've got Eastland Partners for 50 Washington Street at 7:10. And then Rockland Rose continued to September 10th.
Yep.
And through the chair, so Glenn did tell me he was gonna participate remotely, but he was gonna request continuance to the next meeting anyways, because
Okay.
we're still waiting for stormwater.
So since he didn't appear, just put it on
I'll
the
just put it
agenda.
on for the next agenda,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay, if, so there's nothing for us to decide tonight.
Let's do.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote. All right, everyone, thank you very much.